Wait a second, did I tell you guys about what I could do with ki? How did I not tell you? Oh wow, that's ridiculous. I probably should have said that at the beginning of this update. Okay. Good. That's a nice dog over there. There's a park over there. I'm trying not to get distracted. So, Kundalini update. Recently, I've told you all about... Oh my god, there's a paraglider. Jeez, this is getting so difficult not to... What do you even jump off of to? Is there a plane? It's gone somewhere. Where'd you go? There you are. Lovely staff. So, I've told you guys so far about how I turned up the volume with my emotional body. And I told you guys about how I discovered more holes when it comes to me channeling ki or chi. Germans called it vril. Other people call it prana, through certain areas of the body, through the meridians that I told you within my chakra video that I could see within the astral realm. Okay? This next video will be pertaining to further developments within those areas. Okay, some which are just so obvious, and yet so many people don't know about these things. So I'm going to teach you guys, number one, how to correct your back posture. And number two, something which everyone doesn't feel at all, and that deals with the dead spine. Okay? So, back posture. When I was doing the... And when I blow out my mouth, it comes out my hands. I do this with my thumb. I can blow out my thumb, fingers, and all that jazz. Right? I'd further developed the ability to not only feel it come out of the tip of my finger, but also feel it channeling up pathways within my hand, like literal pathways. So now I can feel it come up through the fingers and down through the channels, whereas before I could just feel it coming out and I'd feel my fingers tingle. Okay, so now I'm becoming more sensitive to these literal tubes within my body. Next would be, well, I talked about the gooch, right? And if you're young, you probably had laughed, but this is a serious matter. Because a lot of people are walking around with bad posture. I had a pelvic tilt. Now, a pelvic tilt is basically this, right? And it arches your back when you do this. So you just like that. When you're like that and you're trying to blow ki through these channels within the body, it actually disturbs the path in which it flows. And that is why I was coming out of the gooch, that is why I was coming out of the navel, and that is why I was also coming out the base of my back and out in that direction. Okay? When I corrected my spine, it completely bypassed those holes and went out through the tip of the base of my spine at the bottom of the coccyx. It felt great. Not only that, but I thought I did something wrong, to be honest with you. I was breathing, I was like, I can't feel it coming out the holes anymore. Did I block some channels? But then I noticed that, oh, wait a second, this new one's opened up. And obviously it was the one that everyone talks about, which was the base of the spine. Now, usually within the past, when I had done previous meditations and I would draw ki through the head, down the base of the body, I'd actually just channel it down the legs, through the spine, and it would also carry from the spine, again through the legs, and then into my feet and into the ground. But because the energy wasn't funneled, it wasn't concentrated, it was more like a gas. I couldn't really feel what pathway it was going down, you know, where it was coming out of. And to me, it just felt like I was doing it right. To me, it just felt like I was having loads of energy come in and go out into the ground. But now that I'm able to funnel it, because I no longer... Wait a second, did I tell you guys about what I could do with ki? How did I not tell you? Oh wow, that's ridiculous. I probably should have said that at the beginning of this update. I'll tell you in a second. Now that I'm able to channel it properly within the vessel, I can actually pull in and not leak out any ki, leaking out any ki. Before I decided to make these Kundalini updates, I actually got inspired by Hunter x Hunter. And in that anime, he sits there and he feels his ki body. And I'm sat here right now, I can feel it on me. I could feel holes where things are just leaking out, life force is just leaking out of me. And what I decided to do was to bring my awareness into my body, feel the ki, and then bring it back into my body. Now, I hope I'm not repeating myself, but I'll just make this quick, and if I haven't made this before, and I'll find out when I edit these videos, I'll make a video further in depth with this teaching even. Because what you do is you bring all of the energy in, you seal up the holes, and then you sit with it coming into the body and it doesn't escape. And that's when you get really, really energetically sensitive. So, back to the back, okay? I'm going to show you how to fix your back, and then I'll tell you about the next phase of my development when it comes to Kundalini. Because it's been a while since I made these updates. I've been preoccupied, but let's do this. Earlier on, I talked about the pelvic tilt, like this, right? And then you got the interior pelvic tilt, which is like this. When someone's got an interior pelvic tilt, it's because this quad right here, this lump of muscle, is too lax, it's too relaxed. And so their bum basically disappears and they walk around like this. When it's pelvically tilted like this, it's because they're too tight and this is too lax. So your ass pops up, okay? Problem with this, of course, is your spine really needs to be like this. It needs to be straight. But if you're like this, you have a dip, and that's an issue. If you're too much like that, then it really does come out, okay? And that's when you get bending on the spine and everything. It's not really ideal for great posture. So what we need to get you to do is this. We need to have you, ultimately, see if I can get this positioning right. We need to have you bring out your hips so that the spine pops out. And then as you bring out your hips, you should be like this and your stomach should fold inwards, okay? Then what you do is as you keep your hips out, you breathe out into your belly, okay? Out into your belly. So now you don't have the dip and your spine is still out. Now obviously this is too much. So you lean back with your shoulders and then you will have it straight like that. Your voice might even change, okay? When you do that, alongside having your shoulders back and this part of your spine pushed backwards by tucking in your chin, and you can actually go up against a wall and do that. If you do the previous exercise against a wall, you'll notice how your lower back, your middle back, drop the shoulders, bring them back, possibly even lift up your elbows so that your shoulder blades lay neatly flush against the wall. Put your chin back like so, and then slowly relax your spine, and you'll notice how the front of your body, right here where the collarbone is, will push forward gradually on its own. It won't tense or anything, it'll just relax on its own. Your chest will become more straight. Instead of having a chest that's like that, it will become more like this. And if your shoulders are back and you close that gap by tucking in your chin, alongside the previous exercise with your lower back, your spine will be dead straight, okay? Then you do the ki exercises, and then you'll notice how the ki actually flows through your body better, okay? So that is just what I've been doing when it comes to my posture. Now I did buy a back brace 4 days before I decided to do these exercises. And obviously because I had 4 days before it came in the post, I had to do something by myself. So I decided to do my own exercises, which is pretty much what I just showed you. And I did that against the wall and I walked around the house for about 4 days with my shoulders back until my back stayed erect, straight. And you know, very quickly, the muscles learn its new pattern. When you automatically anticipate and feel hunched over, it leaves, well, after effect. Let me make more sense of this. Consciousness is the construct of the body, like literally. If you mentally hold yourself like this, okay, if you make the decision to hunch over, not only do you get depressed, but your body remembers it. You remember it. When you try to go straight, you feel like you should be like this. That is your body remembering, and therefore it follows that consciousness construct, that muscle memory. All you got to do is change the muscle memory. You do that by feeling different. So when your shoulders are back, you hold that feeling and you keep holding it. Then when you do this and you remember that feeling, automatically your body wants to do this. And that is the key behind a lot of yoga. Because we have all of this muscle memory built into our feet, which causes our feet to be more like that, rat feet, right? Causes us to be wonky with our walks, with our knees are all bent out of shape, our spine, our hips are all displaced, our shoulders are all displaced. And then when we get older, we have all of these ailments that come along with having bad posture. It's all muscle memory based. It's all consciousness based. So as long as you can rewrite that muscle memory, and I'm telling you guys, it really is simple. It really doesn't take that long of a time. If you're new to this, then maybe 2 days. If you're not new to yoga, then it should be pretty much instant. So there's no issue when it comes to you correcting it. The next thing that I did, after I realized that my happiness and my joy really did spark on when I had a straight back, I stopped being pulled into a depressed state. I wanted to play with the emotional body a bit more. When I was younger, around about 17, just getting into meditation, I decided to focus my awareness on the tips of my fingers and the tips of my toes. And I'll bring up all of the consciousness simply by feeling out my nervous system. A lot of people think this is hard. It's not. If you've been hit, okay, in the leg, if you've been bitten by a dog or a person, if you've been stung by a wasp or an ant, if you can pinch yourself, get Chinese burners on your arm, right? And you feel that pain, that's because your awareness is in your nervous system, so you can feel your nervous system. The cool thing is the reason as to why you're feeling your nervous system is because your nervous system is telling your brain that that area is damaged. When your nerves are deadened, when they're broken, that damaged area of your body cannot send signals to the brain. Therefore, the brain doesn't know that it's damaged, and it doesn't heal that limb, that toe, that rib, that part of your spine, that part of your leg. So your nervous system needs to be intact in order to send the adequate messages to better assimilate proteins and amino acids and healing agents within the body, its own internal antibiotics, in order to heal and regenerate the flesh, the tissue, and so forth. This is why when people try to astral project or meditate and they focus too much on their physical body, they feel sharp pains. It's because they're actually feeling their nervous system. And when you feel your nervous system, you'll get tingles, sometimes. These are not vibrational stages leading up into astral projection. They're the vibrational stages of the body. That's you feeling the blood flow and all the little micro movements within your being. Now, it's got a really good use, obviously, because now it's going to further increase the electrical conductivity of the nervous system because your consciousness is residing within that area of the body. And it's also going to allow that nerve cell to heal itself, thus sending more messages to your brain so that you can further heal your body. It's like you're speeding up your healing process just by thinking, or your self-healing, okay? So what I used to do is I used to take all of the consciousness within my mind, move it within the nerves, within my legs and up throughout my body. And as I made my way up my body, I would deliberately make the intention to turn off any other nerve cell down the leg as I was moving my way up. So it's kind of like I'm expunging and taking all of that consciousness up throughout my body, all of the awareness that makes my body move and that makes my muscle tissue contract. As I did that, not only when I got out of the meditation, when I tried to get up, I'd fall over because my body would be turned off, but I also noticed that when I brought my attention up into my tongue and I slowly fell asleep in that space of my body, I felt as if, how can I get really specific? Death by 1,000 needles doesn't come close. Maybe if you get just the blade part of the razor blade, like literally cut off that metal, that sharp bit, crunch it up into sand, heat it up, pour it in battery acid and then salt, and then stick that inside of your tongue. That's what it felt like, because there are a lot of nerve cells, endings within your tongue. Okay, so because all of the awareness, the accumulated awareness within my entire body was now honed into one point up into my tongue, it basically overpowered my tongue. And that is what they call a Kundalini burnout. It is when you'll burn out certain areas of your body, and that's what causes most damage if you're not careful. So you got to slowly allow the body to adjust to your consciousness. So you don't do too much too soon is what I'm saying here. Okay. Now, in relation to that, and my past update where I talked about turning up my emotional body, what I did was I brought my awareness up my spine. And do you guys notice how when you get emotional, it's only here in the heart or in the guts or in the kidneys when you get afraid? It's only in the tissue, that fatty, jelly-like organs, the body. It's only in this part of the body. The spine is completely dead, you know? So in order for me to fix that, what I did was I brought my awareness up my spine, and then I got to a certain point, and then I triggered an emotional response within my organs through fear or through love or whatever emotion that I wanted to experience. And I gradually focused on feeling that whilst bringing my awareness closer and closer to the back of my spine. It took me a while. You can imagine. You feel where it is behind the organ, and then you slowly bring your awareness back through the nerves. And as you slowly bring that emotional output into the spine, now you're feeling the emotions within your back, not within your organs. And I worked my way all the way up my spine, okay? When I did that, I literally lived like that for a day. And then automatically, as something triggered me emotionally, whether it be something cute on Facebook, a baby smiling, or maybe a cat or a puppy, or maybe just seeing something that excites me, my back lit up and my organs lit up, but mainly my back, rather than just my front of my body, the organs inside the body. So now I'm lit up like a Christmas tree, and I felt really, how can I say, alive, physically, internally, but more so I felt really consciousness and aware. That gets me into the type of Kundalini, okay? Because yesterday I had a conversation with somebody through Skype, through the sessions that I hold, and he asked me, okay, so is there like a level 2 to Kundalini? And I said, well, okay, really, Kundalini awakening is just the awakening of electricity within your body, chi flow, ki flow, consciousness within the body other than the genitals and your head. Sometimes a fight between your heart and the other two. When you have this awakening of consciousness, usually it travels up the spine because that's how we are. We're electrically conductive. That's the flow of energy, the way it's supposed to be within the body. But really it just activates certain glands within the body, which then serve as a prerequisite, thus leading into you experiencing certain mystical experiences with your third eye opening or certain degrees of telepathy and hypnosis states where you're walking around meditating and you're able to access subconscious areas of your mind. It leads to some really cool things, and possibly even you seeing certain things once you activate the meridians behind your eyes, okay? So really, that's okay. It's an awakening, but it's not great. Okay, it's not all that it's cracked up to be, because a lot of people aren't focusing on the cellular activation side of it. You see, when you awaken to Kundalini, when you, as a conscious being, move into the body and become the life force that exists within your cells, that is when you have access to knowledge behind how your cells are literally thinking in order to carry out the certain commands and the actions that they are doing. When you do that, you are literally becoming, or have become, a fully integrated thought form in being. Meaning, your thoughts control your physiology, the hormone output, shape-shifting wise. You can literally grow your hair faster, you can become more testosteronally prone, thus growing faster, having larger muscles, growing faster beards, distributing or burning up certain amino acids, enzymes, nutrients, thus having a faster metabolism, slowing down your metabolism. When you do that, that is because you've become integrated with the life force within the cells. So you've activated your cellular information and you've become the body in relation to the consciousness that resides within the body, not the tissue itself, okay? So I'm Ryan James Cropper. These have been my updates so far on my further Kundalini developments. One other thing before I close down, when I was blowing the consciousness throughout the portholes within my body, I was also able to feel the actual individual channels within my vessel. Every time I blew air out my finger, I could now feel just then it coming through the pipeline, so to speak, and then out through the holes. Whereas usually, I would just feel it coming out of the meridians, the holes, rather than feeling all this internal workings going on within my vessel. Okay, so now I've become very prone to feeling it all throughout my body. So I'm Ryan James Cropper. This has been your potential. Stay updated with more of my Kundalini experiments, and I'll speak to you all pretty soon. Peace.